following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
The Nostalgia Funhouse proudly dedicates all episodes in the loving memory of Connie Chirac. So, Johnny, I've been hearing really great things about this Nostalgia Funhouse. It just brings back so many great memories.
Andrew, the only reason I'm moving in line with you here is that you really vouched for this show. So I'm just going to believe you that this is the show that I've been wanting, which is just talking about all the fun stuff from our yesteryear and the years before. And I really hate anything meta, so I'm glad that what we're doing right now is not that.
Oh, no, definitely. What is meta? Isn't that Ron Artest's new name?
Well, add World and Peace to it, sure.
Yeah, but this is great. They, last year they were tier and play sets and Halloween costumes.
Well, that sounds cool.
They get these weird court recordings from pop culture courts.
Does anybody care about court cases?
These ones are kind of cool. They put Scott Kelvin on trial. Poor old Santa Claus there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, man. You know what's the best part about this is, though? Is I hear they always got a really great sponsor. You can check it out right there.
The Survivor Series is coming to you live Thanksgiving night. Your chance to witness the superstars of the World Wrestling Federation compete in a survival of the fittest. Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Andre the Giant, 50 stars in all. The World Wrestling Federation presents the Survivor Series, where teams of 5 strive to survive. Coming to you live Thanksgiving night exclusively on pay-per-view. Don't get shut out. Order now. Contact your local cable system for complete details.
Hello, take 2, and go. Here we go. Welcome to the Nostalgia Funhouse, the second time we've tried this. Fingers crossed This works. This time, I'm Johnny. He's Andrew. Andrew, today, let's do the same old shtick. We're talking about SummerSlam teams. That's so funny. We haven't done that before.
No, we didn't. We didn't do any 20 minutes recording yesterday, and Johnny kept on calling Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and
yeah. And I didn't, and I swear, I didn't Google SummerSlam teams and got really frustrated that I couldn't find anything, to the point where I reached out to Andrew and said, Andrew, I can't find these SummerSlam teams.
Completely different. Different.
And once Andrew informed me, it's actually Survivor Series teams. Well, let me just tell you, that made so much more sense, because I found so many more Google results, and also it made sense to me. I was very confused why we were going to do, and I had a whole routine about this, a good 5 minutes of stand-up about doing SummerSlam in November. How funny is that? It's very funny. We just went to fall. And that was SummerSlam.
It's Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
And as we told before, the Survivor Series was created just to screw over Jim Crockett Promotions and Starrcade.
Yeah. You want to know how WWE got so big? It's a lot of, hey, I want to screw over all these promotions.
Yeah, they were the Nintendo of wrestling companies in the 80s.
Don't you shh.
I said it. I'm sorry.
Shh. Andrew, we can't get away with that rhetoric.
I just said it.
Trevor listens to this show. I'm going to get a nasty word of text from him over this. Nintendo, but yes, they were very gatekeepy-ish.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But with Nintendo, I understand it a little bit more because the video game crash, but that's a different story.
But we give them no excuses.
No. So
because Sega does what Nintendo don't.
And Sega only makes games now.
Yeah. Sad.
Do you
day.
put your the Wolverine picture, hand over the Sega logo, or the Dreamcast?
I was a day one Dreamcast guy. I'd actually saved
on the
money
9s?
to get it. Yes. Yeah.
You were there on the 9s?
Sure was. I got it from the good old Toys R Us.
Oh, TRU.
Yeah. That's sad. That's sad. I love that system. It's a great system.
You know what else you could get at Toys R Us?
What's that?
Wrestling figures that were in Survivor Series.
Oh man, and wrestling games for your Sega Dreamcast.
Yes. So we're talking about the worst Survivor Series teams, and I'm only going through the ones that years that I watched, and I realized they really got away from the whole idea of Survivor Series teams pretty quick after a while. It just
Yeah,
became
when it first
match.
starts, when it first starts out, it's basically, and it does end up being this later on. It's basically just like an all-star team versus all-star team,
Yeah, which was kind of cool.
which is what you want. I think it's what it's supposed to be, right? So that's what, because I mean, like that very first SummerSlam. I mean, I literally about did that not on purpose. Very first Survivor Series. Man, that double S just throws me off. Uh, is like that one team is like a who's who of wow. Like it starts off with Randy Savage for crying out loud is on that team.
Yeah. Uh yeah, there's good teams in the first one. I didn't even look at when they would do the 10 on 10 tag team matches. I was like, that's way too much for me. I'm not
Yeah.
dealing with that. So I
Now,
didn't even look at those, but in this first match here, this was a team that I was like, wow, I wouldn't pay money to see this. Is So this team was of Dangerous Danny Davis,
yeah,
Harley Race, which Harley Race,
Harley Race is awesome. Yeah.
but this isn't like I'm gonna kill you, Ric Flair, Harley Race. This
Yeah,
is
but like compared to who you just said before him,
yeah,
no, again, no offense to any of these wrestlers. It's just
no,
on the scale of WWE is what we're talking
yes,
about here. Yeah.
Hercules,
Who shows up a lot, by the way.
yeah, the Honky Tonk Man,
Oh man, shake, right on roll though, baby.
and Ron Bass.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I really got a kick out of was the managers and Bobby Heenan and Jimmy Hart. And I was like, oh, those are great managers. So this,
Yeah, that's because when you were older, like as an adult, those would be the two that I would obviously be like, yeah, this is why I would watch this. Jimmy Hart and Bobby the Brainer here, and with a little bit of Harley Race. I'm okay with those three things. But overall, it's pretty. I bet I kind of think Harley Race probably looked around and was like, "What am I doing here?"
yeah, like it just like every other team, like I'm like, okay, I get it. They're not bad. But those were like my worst for that was got to be the worst one for the first one. What did I have for 88?
Yeah.
I oh
I did not. I did not get the years on these, but all these are from the first two teams that I've written down four teams
okay.
that I thought were pretty bad. The first two are from the '80s, and the last one's in the '90s. The last two are in the '90s.
Oh, you're
Uh, but
90s.
I'm going to get listen to this. Listen to this team.
Okay.
All right, it starts out pretty decent. Rick Martel, right?
Yeah. Sounds
That's
what
not bad. That's
no,
not bad. But then I want to add Hercules to this. Of course, he shows up again.
of course Hercules.
A little a Warlord. I'm going to give you Warlord
Okay, not bad.
and Paul Roma. Those are your four for this team. That feels very, very B squad to me.
Yeah, that's just straight hoss fights right there.
Oh yeah. That's just a slugfest. But yeah, I was like, man, wow,
Here's the
wow.
I don't want to hate on these guys once again, but it's gonna sound like it. How about this team, Johnny? How would you like to pay money to see the Honky Tonk Man, Ron
Shake,
Bass,
shake right on road.
Danny Davis, Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Bad News Brown?
Yeah, that's man. That's a
And they're taking on, okay?
oh okay yeah.
This is the team that they defeated, and this team's not like hindsight now, this team probably even back then you would have been like, ugh, this is not the greatest. The Ultimate Warrior, this is 88, 1988. So this is
This is like when
fine.
Warriors getting big. Yeah,
Yeah. Brutus, Will's favorite wrestler, Brutus Beefcake.
he's a barber, you know.
Yeah. Sam Houston, the Blue Blazer
Oh
and,
yeah, yeah.
and Jim Brunzell.
Yeah, I saw this team and I stopped at Blue Blazers. Like, I can't put this team on my list.
I
Out of love.
I love Owen.
Yeah.
I get the 80s Blue Blazer thing, but like where is other than probably well, Brunzell wasn't too bad. And or is that B Brian? I get them mixed up.
Will be Brown Blair.
B Brian Blair and Jumping Jim Brunzell.
Yeah.
I just love saying their names. Sam Houston actually wasn't too bad. Half brother to Jake the Snake Roberts.
That's right. Yeah.
The brother.
What a wonderful family that nothing tragic ever happened to.
I was going to say the brother that supposedly wasn't molested.
That's a rough story. If you don't know Jake the Snake's family story, wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
I mean, even the main event with the Twin Towers versus
Oh,
DiBiase,
yeah.
King Haku, and you're like, wow, this is really good. And then they're like, the Red Rooster. One of these things don't
What about?
belong.
I want to give you a team where I literally had to look up one of these guys.
I want to know who this is.
All right, I'm going to give you the team, and you tell me who this one person is. All right.
Okay,
All right.
let's see if I remember him.
Colonel Mustafa.
Okay.
Yeah, that one I knew. Hercules shows up again because, of course,
Poor Hercules is just bad booking.
Yeah, yeah. The Berserker, which I vaguely remember.
Yeah, he was just that Viking guy.
Yeah, but then I'm going to give you the name Skinner, not Principal, but just Skinner.
I only know Skinner from watching the history of the Hasbro toys because he's a Hasbro figure. But if you were like, hey, name a Skinner match that you saw, or do you remember ever watching Skinner wrestle? Not one thing comes to mind.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, no offense to these people nor their families.
Yeah. I didn't think there was.
Andrew, I want to spend 20 minutes talking about this next match.
Okay.
I was looking these up, and this one I was like, I remember this one vaguely, and I had to go rewatch it. Like, my brain was like, you have to rewatch this match, so I did. So this is the one that I went back and actually rewatched this match, and I do not feel good about myself for doing so. The match is one. This is both these teams.
Okay.
So on one side, you had Jerry Lawler.
Oh, I know which one you're going with. The Royal Family.
Sleazy, Queasy, and Cheesy. And they took on Doink the Clown, Dink, Pink, and of course, Wink.
Yes.
I don't know where Stink went, but that's where those are. This is, of course, two wrestlers who are having a feud, and each week, to build up to this, each week they would bring on a little person dressed up like them, like a new one, and they would add them to their team each week. There was a build up to this. To this incredible match. Also, shout out to Wrestling with Regret.
Yeah, he just did this.
He just did this one too, and I saw that. I was like, oh man, that's great. So shout out to that. I love it when he grades these pay-per-views. And he was on the money. Like, the crowd was into the little people, and I get it. But like, it was just obviously done for comedy, but it lasts way, way too long. And the ending of it is basically all the little people team up after Jerry Lawler wins, team up and just chase him around the ring, outside of the ring. That's how it ends. Because of course it does.
Yeah.
And he gets pied in the face because Doink comes back and hits him with the pie.
There's another one, oh, here it is. This is where I was out. Okay, this is where I was like, you know what? I'm not watching any more pay-per-views or anything like this. And this Survivor Series, what year was this? 94, 90, 93. Okay. So I've been probably a loyal wrestling watcher since 87 at this point.
Yeah.
All right. And probably even a little bit later because a huge Junkyard Dog fan right here. And this is the one that I actually was like invested
Right.
in this feud. It was like the first kind of non Hulk Hogan type Ultimate Warrior type feud that I was like invested in. It is the Hart family versus Shawn Michael and his Knights, which was not supposed to be Shawn Michaels. It was supposed to be Jerry the King Lawler, but something came
Oh,
up.
yeah. Those little people chased him around and he left.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny that you say little people because
Oh, this is that time?
this is that time.
Oh, wow.
This
Yeah,
is
Google that yourself if you're curious. I would prefer not to talk about. Wow. Let's just say Jerry might not be the best guy.
yeah, but it was the Hart family. Brett, Bruce, Keith, and Owen versus Shawn Michaels and his Knights, the Black Knight, the Blue Knight, and the Red Knight. The Black Knight Jeff was Jeff Gaylord. That's his actual name.
Yeah, last name Fokker.
Okay. The Blue Knight was Greg the Hammer Valentine.
That's what I'm talking about. Now that's a blue knight for you.
The Red Knight was none other than Barry Horowitz himself.
There we go. Yeah.
And that was the match. And at that point, I was like, I never want to watch wrestling again. I have no idea why, but this match ruined everything for me.
Well, it's because there's big names in it, and that's what they did with it. Like I get that certain real life events happen that make you have to change things, but why do they have to be knights? Just let them be themselves.
Yeah. Well,
You got Greg the Hammer Valentine. Why's he got to be a knight?
because it's Greg the Hammer Valentine. And he
Yeah,
has,
but man,
he
I don't
has
know.
about as much charisma as a floor lamp.
Yeah, but he's a hammer, and he's a Valentine.
And this is also the famous one, and I have no recollection of this. This is the last pay-per-view that I watched up until probably 97, 98.
Yeah.
And this is the one with the all-American team of Lex Luger, the Steiner brothers, and the Undertaker going up against the foreign fanatics of Crush Quebecer Jock, Ludwig von Borga, and Yokozuna.
Now,
Now listen who's in their corner. Their corner sounds amazing now that we're older and we understand. I feel like we stand more things. Good old Jim Cornette,
yeah,
Mr. Fuji,
yeah.
and I don't know this guy. His name wasn't always Johnny Polo, but if you know
Oh
who,
my gosh, yeah. You got to
Good old-
quote him evermore.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about him?
Apparently, famously, Giant Hog.
He's a farmer, kids.
Yeah.
I do remember kind of a little bit of 94 because I remember Undertaker making the casket
Yeah.
for
Uh,
Yokozuna, but there wasn't really, I don't think, any horrible teams on there.
I want to shout out Stevie Richards, who has a great YouTube channel.
Yes.
Highly recommend it, especially if you're a wrestling nerd. Like he does really, I think he does really good stuff on there. And he actually did recently a comparison of Yokozuna's finisher, where he take you to the corner and basically jump on you and sit on you.
Banzai.
Yeah, the bonsai drop, and how different he would do it on the enhancement talent versus stars. Those poor enhancement talent. Dear sweet Jesus.
Cornette talked about that. He said he took the bonsai drop the one time and he said it was like pillows, like just like a pillow hitting him at coming down.
Yeah, it's because he probably liked him.
Yeah.
And it's Jim Cornette, he's a name.
Yeah,
You
can't.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
I'm just telling you, like a poor no-name guy who's coming in to enhance Yokozuna did not get the same courtesy as Hulk Hogan. That's all we'll say. Because good Lord, a couple of those. There's a whole like it's just like a clip after clip of him just devastating these guys' poor sternums. How more ribs were not broken, I do not know.
So
That was a large human being. That was a large mass of humanity headed towards you.
so that also the one with the royal family versus Clowns Are Us.
Yeah.
This team of guts and glory. And as a kid, I would have been like, yes to all these guys. Adam Bomb, huge Adam Bomb fan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Smoking Guns, Billy and Bart,
Oh yeah.
Lex Luger. Come on, this is cool Lex Luger time. And Mabel talking about people that don't take care of people all the time.
I think this is a future episode for this show. But there are wrestlers that when I was a kid, I was like, I don't get why people like this guy. But when I became older, I was like, this guy's actually awesome.
Yeah.
Lex Luger's one of those. Like when I was a kid, I was like, I don't care about Lex Luger. But when I got older, I was like, Lex Luger is awesome. Like I threw him in that same category for me. It's like Fit Finlay was the same way for me.
Johnny, I know I got to bring this up every time, but I met Lex Luger and he called me brother. I'm
jealous of you for a lot of things, but especially that. That is really cool. Honestly, that was very cool.
I shook his hand and he called me brother, and I ran away like a 5-year-old instead of a
I would have skipped
something 30-something-year-old man. I hope God forgives me because it was during church as I sat there Googling, going, is that Lex Luger? Is that Lex Luger? And then me Googling, is Lex Luger in a wheelchair? Did Lex Luger
I had a very similar thing happen to me just yesterday when I was watching Walker, Texas Ranger.
Woof.
And this guy shows up. I'm like, is that Freddy Krueger? Guess what? It was Freddy Krueger. It was what's that guy's name? The actor that plays Freddy Krueger? It was him.
Robert Englund.
Robert Englund. Yes. He was in an episode. He played just a shocker. He played a bad guy.
Yeah, because speaking, see, you brought up Chuck Norris, and he was the special
sir. Yes.
For that match.
He got to do a kick.
But that's as far as I go. 94, I was definitely 100% done with wrestling. Well, not 100% done, but I actually thought I was going to be 100% done. But some guys named Stone Cold and The Rock came and
they keep dragging you back in. Yeah,
I've been watching. It's funny because I was watching that show, The Detroiters, that Will was telling us about, and there's an episode where the mother's talking to the one guy about his brother and how his brother and the stepfather are fighting, and she was like, "Yeah, he gets crazy with him. Like he even like the son does this to the stepfather, gets crazy with him. He even rock bottomed him." And underneath his breath, he goes, "Rock bottom. That's a finisher."
I need to watch that show. I think I've only seen like one episode, and I did enjoy it. I just never. It was a Comedy Central show, right?
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. It's only 2 seasons and 20 episodes total, and I'm like almost done. And I'm like,
I can get to that fast then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like so depressed. Oh, you'd love it, Kevin Nash. Not to get off topic.
But Kevin Nash is a wrestler.
Yeah, okay, but this is going to kind of get off topic. Rick Mahorn's in it, and they make him sad.
Well, because it takes place in Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But Rick Mahorn is in it, and they make
very famous Piston. Yeah.
They make him sad because they say he can't act, and he overhears them talking bad about him.
Oh,
you got
that's a classic. That's a classic trope, right? I love the classic tropes. I don't want to brag, but yesterday I was watching Walker, Texas Ranger. And one of the episodes is a classic trope where he got amnesia, Andrew, and he couldn't remember
Walker?
who he was. Yeah, and he couldn't remember who he was, but he can still fight and everything. Quick Walker, Texas Ranger rant. When I was a kid and I watched this show, I was a big fan of. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like I always liked Chuck Norris, but on the show he had a partner, Trevette, right?
Yeah,
He was supposed to be like he came from the Cowboys. He played for the Cowboys, but now he became a Ranger. He was my favorite. I thought he was so. I thought he was just.
You went
so
from
cool.
football to baseball, or football
No
to hockey?
Yes.
Which Rangers, New York or Texas?
The Texas ones.
Oh,
So I guess baseball.
Yeah, baseball.
But I really liked him. I still do. He's still great. But the show makes Walker such like the be all end all. He's basically Superman. He can do
Yeah.
everything. That as I'm watching this as an adult looking at it, Trevette is, I am not kidding, not remotely needed in any episode of this series. He's useless.
It's Chuck Norris.
Yeah. It should have just been Chuck Norris by himself, because that's basically what it is. Which is fine. I love Chuck Norris, but let Trevette do something.
So
That's the end of my rant there.
so this is Bleacher Reports.
Oh,
10
yeah.
worst teams
And
ever.
the good thing about
I've ever seen.
Bleacher is they can get stains out of your clothes.
So they have then so 95. They
This is the
have
worst or best? This is the worst, right?
this is the worst. So at number
Yeah,
10,
I should have the first one I should have looked at. So this is the worst. Yeah.
Body Donnas.
Who is skipping Zip? I do not remember.
You never heard of Skip? Okay, so I just recently. So
What
one
a
is
team.
one is Chris Candino,
Wow. Oh yeah, he is, because they got a
Chris
picture
Candi-
right here.
and then the other one is Dr. Tom Pritchard.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
like really crappy gimmick,
But good
great-
wrestlers.
great
Yeah.
wrestlers with
Yeah.
Rad Radford.
Never heard that name either.
That is I want to say that's Louis Spicoli.
Oh, okay. Now I do know who the 1-2-3 kid is, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Louis Spicoli.
Oh wow. So these are
WCW fans.
yeah, these are big names. Just
Yeah. It's
not in those gimmicks.
it's WWE in 1995.
Yeah, if you don't know who Tom Pritchard is, he's Bruce Pritchard's brother, but also like he's trained so many guys now too. Big time trainer.
At first I couldn't understand why they called him Dr. Tom, and then I realized all these guys that he's trained and how like even good he can make some of them are out of nothing.
Yeah.
I can see why they call him Dr. Tom.
Yeah.
But he hated this gimmick, Dr. Tom.
Well, why would I would think both
They
these
cut
guys
his
would hate this
hair.
gimmick.
Huh?
Yeah. I think both these
Yeah.
guys would hate this gimmick. They're both too good for it.
Yeah. And Rad Radford. There's good old Louis Spicoli. And Louis Spicoli, God rest his soul, demons, he had his
Yeah.
demons. If you watch old WCW, he's great with Scott Hall.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is.
Here we go, another 95. Marty Jannetty, Hakushi, and Barry Horowitz with Bob Holly.
Bob Holly's one of those underrated guys for me.
Yeah, they were just talking about him.
He's so good.
I was listening to something to wrestle with, and Bruce Pritchard said one time the creative went to like all the wrestlers, and they were like, okay, if you got any ideas, let us know. And he said, Bob Holly raised his hand and goes, yeah, you should put the belt on me. And they go, okay, well, what are we going to do after we put the belt on you? He goes, I'm going to beat everyone. And they're like, okay, next, please.
Love it. And why didn't they do that? That's a great idea.
Number 8, Nikolai Volkov, the Bushwhackers, and Tito Santana.
Now, I own these are people with names. These are names.
But in hindsight,
When I was a kid, I loved the Bushwhackers, but as an adult, you kind of see them all. They're basically comedy act,
yeah. And
which
I
is
don't,
nothing wrong with that. But it really definitely, unless you're like Kurt Angle, who can work comedy into your act, it's
yeah,
you're not going to
Nikolai-
make him in anything with it.
Nikolai Volkov isn't a spring chicken too much anymore. And then the only one that could probably actually work is Tito Santana.
Yeah.
The Flying Burrito. 2006, the Spirit.
This one I remember.
I was out.
Well, this is where the Spirit Squad famously, Dolph Ziggler came out of that squad.
Oh yeah, there he is, right there. Isn't he Nikki?
Can't remember who he was in there, but he's definitely there. Yeah.
Number 6, the Orient Express, Sergeant Slaughter, and Boris Zukov.
Now, which one of these guys does not belong?
Boris Zukov.
I love how he's still dressed. Slaughter still dressed as his gimmick, and everybody else is a completely different type of clothes. He stands out like a sore thumb.
What was Sergeant Slaughter? Oh, he was 42 at this point in
And
19.
I love Slaughter. I'm a big Slaughter guy. I like him a
Yeah.
lot. But yeah, he was one
Oh,
of my favorites as a kid.
what were they called? Uh, the Truth Commission, the Jackal, the Interrogator,
Yeah,
Sniper, and Recon.
this is like
97.
somebody in creative in '97's like grew up with GI Joe, and they were like, I have an idea.
I thought weren't they also supposed to do like a South American, South Africa like apartheid thing?
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. I don't remember that, but I would not doubt it. Oh,
Oh,
here we go. Here's another great team, the Mean Street Posse.
yeah, Rodney was it? Yeah, Rodney, Pete Gas, and Joey Abs and the British Bulldog.
Now, do you think when they went to the British Bulldog and they said, "Look, here's a team we're going to team you with,"
Oh, he was over the moon.
I bet so.
He was like,
You mean I
oh,
get to wrestle with Joey Abs?
yeah. I'm a big Pete Gas fan, mate.
Oh man.
And
You mean
plus,
these three guys who got a job because they're who their buddy is? Yeah.
what is it? Two of them.
Two of them were. One of them's an actual trained wrestler, right? I
Yeah.
think.
I think Pete Gas and was it Rodney? It was either Rodney or Joey Abs that was the actual wrestler. I know Pete Gas was an actual friend.
Yeah.
Good old Pete Gas. 93. How did we miss this one? The Head Shrinkers, Samu and Fatu versus with Bastion Booger and Bam Bam Bigelow.
I think the reason I didn't put this down is because
Bam
Bam
Bam?
Bam's there.
Yeah.
And Bam Bam for me just automatically made anything cooler. So,
Yeah. And I wasn't that I like the Head Shrinkers, so
yeah.
number 2, oh my goodness, the Disciples of Apocalypse, Chains, 8-Ball, and Skull. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
that's number 2. And the number 1, hey, this is what that
Hey, I caught it. Yeah.
Colonel Mustafa, the Berserker, Skinner, and Hercules.
There's Skinner for you right there. That Crocodile Dundee looking guy.
That's Steve Kern from Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
Like a legit wrestler that they just were like, hey, we're going to make you into a crocodile hunter. You know why? Because you're from Florida.
Yep.
And there's alligators and crocodiles down there.
And that movie's popular. We're gonna give you a knife. And you're gonna constantly say that's not a knife.
And you can't be the Iron Sheik anymore. You got to
And you
be
can-
Colonel Mustafa.
and you can never put enough shrimps on that Barbie.
All right, Jenny. So now we're going to look at some of these names. These are the best and worst names this is from WWE. So I'm guessing this is a best in the Rude Brood, because I think this is just a great team by itself here. And Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, and the Fabulous Rougeaus, which
Yeah.
have the most underrated entrance theme ever. I'm not gonna lie, the Rougeau brothers are on my Spotify playlist. All American Boys. Check it out.
Yeah, great team. Great team. Even
Wow.
without them, just the first two.
Oh, see, this one's great. See, this one warms my heart. Is the Warriors. This is good. This is actually a cool team. The Legion of Doom, the Ultimate Warrior, and the Texas Tornado. Little fun here, even though they don't have their names, because you got the Road Warriors, and then Kerry Von Erich as the Texas Tornado, and he was known as the Modern Day Warrior.
I like everybody there except for the guy the team's named after.
Well,
I never liked Warrior. I never liked him.
Oh, it's huge Warrior, huge Warrior kid.
I couldn't stand him. I thought like, give me back Hulk Hogan. I'm a loyal guy.
This must be a bad one. The Visionaries.
That's one of the teams that I talked about.
Yeah. Oh, because it was Power and Glory.
Yep.
With Slick, though, Slick's a very underrated manager.
Yes. There's a lot of very underrated managers that don't get talked about anymore.
And on the panel discussion, we learned that I love 80s and 90s managers.
I will say, I set up this game where I would start naming wrestlers, and you had to tell me the first one out of you and Will who could name me who the manager was for all these wrestlers gets a point. Andrew destroyed poor Will, who is quite literally a professional wrestler.
Yeah, but he got all like the 2000s ones, and I was like,
Yeah, he is a little. I mean, he's not a lot younger, but he is a little younger than us
uh,
by a
we've
couple
already
years,
talked.
I think.
Yeah, we've already talked about the foreign fanatics. Why is there so many like? I don't need to see pictures of these guys. I just need to know team names.
Because they gotta give you so many slides to go through WWE.com.
What about the bad guys?
That's just a great name. Yeah.
Head Shrinkers, British Bulldog, 123 Kid, and Razor Ramon.
Yeah, you gotta have Razor Ramon for the bad guys.
Oh, geez, we're
Oh
not.
god, here we go. Don't do it.
Did you see?
Yeah,
Wait, who?
I saw the doinks.
The Dark Side. Savio Vega, The Undertaker, Henry O. Godwin, and Fatu.
I this version of Undertaker I always forget about because you're just not used to him wearing that almost Kane-like mask.
I didn't even realize it was like Kane. Like,
It really is, right? Yeah.
yeah, it really does. I never even noticed that.
I mean, it's not red, but the shape of it.
Yeah, because Mabel got him.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's it. Or is it that it? Yeah, that's it. That wasn't
Oh,
really
man.
too much WWE.
If they actually made that just as a list article, it would have been like less than a paragraph.
Yeah.
Hey, what an adorable family. I don't know what this family is, but they're adorable. I bet they're like I bet the dad's a real cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a picture of Andrew and his family, just for those listening.
Yeah. When they were when they weren't all stuck in their rooms after. Well, not I don't stick them in the rooms. They just stay in the rooms.
They do it themselves.
Yeah. They don't want to get out too much and hang out with their good old dad.
Kids these days.
Oh, everything all digital and nutty, and they don't know what a good Survivor Series match is. So,
Yeah.
how do you feel about it now?
I love that's what we're gonna like judge them by. Do you know what a good Survivor Series match is?
I used to watch Survivor Series with my dad because that was like my ultimate Survivor Series moment, where most people probably would say 1990 when The Undertaker came out, because for months it was like, who is this guy
Yeah, they
that
built
like,
them up. Yeah,
the $1 million man got?
yeah,
And he came walking out. And my dad never really said anything about any wrestlers. I think he it was more or less he watched it with us to kind of be in the room with us and still see our reactions, because I realize as a father I care more about my kids' reactions to things than I do my
yeah.
own sometimes.
It's about making memories. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just
Well, it's
remember,
because when we become adults, like we have very strong memories with I have very strong memories with my dad. I mean, I definitely have like he's the reason that I even got into NASCAR. Like he would take me to a NASCAR race. There's some very fond memories for me. Or when we would go over to his friend from work's house because his friend from work would get the WWF back then pay-per-views. And that's how I became a Hulkamaniac, is because of that, So like I have very fond memories of those things.
yeah, and he was the Undertaker was the first wrestler that I ever heard him react to where he was like, "Oh my goodness, that guy is huge." And I was like,
And
"Well, that's
yeah.
still sticks into my head to this day." But also too is we used to go over to his house because my parents were divorced on around Thanksgiving. He had a cheater box. Yeah, he stole stuff. Um,
He could have been on that bad guy team.
yeah, he could have been. See right there. He would have been a real great dad if he was on the bad guy team. Uh, but he but we would watch Survivor Series, and
Yeah.
I kind of miss that for Thanksgiving because I like football, but sometimes maybe I want some wrestling.
Yeah, I would have. You know me, I would prefer the wrestling over the football, but that's me.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the rest of America though. The America is the other way around.
Yeah.
Football takes over everything, including Christmas now, which I'm still very mad about. That's basketball.
Well, if you want to watch somebody play defense, the best way to do it is watch the NFL. Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know about that.
I took
There's a
shot.
couple guys in the NBA who play really good defense.
Yeah, they're all on the Celtics.
Oh God, you homer.
Who was somebody was the other night was like, it's unfair that the Celtics have Derek White and Drew Holiday. And I was like, oh, you stop.
That's like two defensive minded guards. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
that is it for our worst Survivor Series teams. I wish they would have kept it going because they just kind of got away from it, and then they started doing
It
that,
got convoluted. They would force things.
that stupid
They
Raw
would force.
SmackDown.
Yeah, the Raw versus SmackDown thing was dumb. Even though the wrestlers in it were really good.
Yeah.
It's man, and every time like it becomes, we were talking about tropes earlier. One of the tropes would be one of these teammates I don't think we can trust. Happens
Oh yeah.
every time. Yeah, I'm pretty tired of that. Just have like team versus team. That's all you really need.
Oh well, they I think they did it more last year where they're starting the whole war games where they're adding war games into Survivor Series.
Which I do like. I think that's really helping things a little bit there. But yeah.
Johnny, you may
Yeah.
hate me for this, you being a WCW guy, but I didn't even know what the hell War Games was or how it worked until like
Where did
you
you
know
grow up?
I was Northeast.
That's what
So
I'm saying. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So
So I'm not shocked by that. It makes
as a
sense to me.
kid, there was no other wrestling. Vince McMahon, the announcer, I didn't even realize he was the owner until I got older, told me that this was the only way to watch wrestling. I watched WCW Saturdays 605 on the Superstation,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
but that was very few memories of those guys,
Yeah.
mostly Sting. I was like, oh, Sting's the best.
Sting rules. Yeah.
Screw you, or screw you, Ric Flair. I don't like you. The only WCW storyline I remember as a kid is the Black Scorpion, which ended up being one of the worst storylines
Yeah.
in WCW history because they had no idea where they were going to go with it.
Yeah. That was pretty fun. See, I grew up in the South, so I've a lot
Yeah,
of memories of WCW.
during Crockett.
Like when Cactus Jack was in a cage match with a bunch of other guys, and certain guy, and it was an electric chair match.
Oh yeah, I've seen that on Wrestling Room with Regret. Halloween
Yeah.
Havoc, where they
Yeah.
supposedly electrocuted Abdullah the Butcher,
Yes.
even though the switch fell, and I think it was like Scott
Yeah.
or Rick Snyder noticed it fell, so they picked it up and then put it back down again.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
signal.
It was
Yeah.
so great. But when you see that as a kid, you're like, holy cow, they electrocuted this man.
Yeah. I miss I miss being worked like a kid.
Me too. It's so fun, wasn't it?
You're like, oh my goodness.
That is one of my biggest regrets is finding out the truth about pro wrestling. I really wish I'd
Well,
never known. I always thought that it was real to me, dang it.
my mother got sick of us wrestling because my brother and I would put down just put down blankets because that's protective.
Yeah,
And
just a blanket. Yeah.
and we would well, there was two. There was two.
Oh, okay. Double. Yeah.
There was two over, the carpet and the hardwood and everything else. And makes it safe. So like I remember being like 7 and she's like, this isn't real, right? They're not really. And I'm like, no, but I still kept it. I was like, she's a liar. She's lying to me. So, but then she was right. But she just, because I asked her, I was like, why, when I got older, I was like, why did you tell us that? She was like, well, you guys weren't listening to me when I said quit wrestling. You're going to get hurt. So I just decided to tell you guys that. And I was like, as a kid, I was like, that's kind of messed up. But as a parent, I'm like, I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it.
And not just hurt yourselves, but like what would you break in the house?
Well, we were in like an area. It was kind of like a mud room, kind of like an open, what is it, a foyer or something? But it wasn't
Yeah.
it was not like huge, not like what you're thinking of, but it was a room with no furniture in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we went in there, but there was still a couple of doors and stuff like that. But yeah, we did break some other stuff, but that's a different story. We broke stuff actually we broke stuff as we got older in hardcore matches.
Yeah, I would break stuff because Limp Bizkit told me to. I get it.
I put a screen over my brother's head because that's what I thought was cool. So
Well, when we were quote unquote backyard wrestlers, I think it was like we had somehow gotten a giant cardboard box that like a wash machine had come in or something like that. Like it's how big it was. And I was like, I told Trevor, I was like, you're throwing me through this cardboard box because it's gonna look so cool.
it's so cool in your mind when you're younger.
I still maintain it looked cool. But if you break it down, it was just a cardboard box.
Yeah.
And there was this is a very distinct memory to me. There was this thrift store that wasn't too far from this place I'd go to eat all the time. And I stopped by there one day and I found the greatest thing for a teenage backyard wrestler, and that was a fake brick.
Oh.
It was a brick, but it was styrofoam, but it looked real. Right. And we used that we had a great storyline with that. I got hit with the brick a lot.
See, if you lived up here, you could have used one of the things were called Bill's bricks, and they were like a sponge.
Yeah.
And it looked like a brick. It was red, and it was supposed to be like something if you get mad, you throw it at your TV, and it wouldn't hurt it because it's a sponge. So you could have used Bill's bricks.
Oh, because this is because you're mad at the Bills. Yeah.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's kind of entertaining. Johnny, who would you, if you had using bad gimmicks, give me your Survivor Series team just on bad gimmicks.
Oh man.
To make it bad. And you could go well, let's open it up. Let's go WCW, anybody else.
Okay. So the complete open gate here.
Yeah.
So I think we have to have 4 to make a team, right?
No,
I think
it's 5.
I thought it was usually at least 4 to 5. I know they are 5, but I feel like it's at least 4. I'll come up with 5 though. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. So he's probably better known as Kane, but I'm going to want him there when he's a dentist.
Good old Isaac Yankem.
Yep. Good old Isaac Yankem. I'm going to have Isaac Yankem on my team. I'm going to have the Gobbledygooker.
Yes. I like this team.
I probably can stop there. I'm going to have
the Gobbledygooker was Hector Guerrero.
That's right. I'm going to pick just one. I'm going to go with Dink. one of the little doinks. I'm going to go with Skinner, so everybody can be like, "Who?"
You're really into Skinner now, aren't you?
I'm fascinated. You know, like when you see a name, like you're like, why do I not remember this person? When I watched
so many.
Yeah. Oh man, but that's one of those for me. Okay, and I need one more. The Yeti.
Ooh, I like the Yeti.
I do too, but yeah, that's my team with manager RoboCop.
Damn you! I'm gonna go with Oz. This is gonna be kind of PN News.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Gotta go with my man, the Red Rooster.
I've thought about him, but I know Andrew would want him. So
I love the Red Rooster.
Yeah.
Almost was him for Halloween. And then I realized I don't like Terry Taylor because he's not a very good person either. Who else is bad gimmicks? Just because they did such a good job on 10 Bell Pod, and please go check out 10 Bell Pod because
if you love pro wrestling, 10 Bell Pod is a great podcast.
I'm gonna go with Mantar
Yeah.
5. Kerwin White. And manager is going to be Kevin Sullivan.
Oh wow, that's an interesting team.
Yeah, especially with the whole Kerwin White there in there too. So, but
Yeah.
that is it. These are our worst Survivor Series teams. Check us out: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything else. Johnny, you got anything to add?
Just that you know, I hope everybody had a great Halloween. And I hope everybody's gonna have a great month of giving thanks with us. What are we talking about next week on this show, Andrew?
Was your idea the Thanksgiving episodes?
Oh yeah. Okay, I didn't know when we were doing it. In my defense.
No, yeah, because I was just thinking, I was like, I'm waiting on Johnny's 3.
Oh, then I guess I better give it to you. I'm gonna
I
shock you. One of them's gonna be Boy
gave
Meets
you
World.
I gave you my 3.
You gave me. I was thinking when you gave me your three, I was like, man, he's giving this awfully early. But we're gonna do like our each.
I'm just gonna put Ninja Turtles in front of everything, and then Johnny remembers instantly.
Yes. If you want me to remember something, just make it Ninja Turtle related, and I will not forget.
Oh,
But yeah, we're gonna be next week. We're gonna be each bringing 3 of our favorite Thanksgiving themed TV episodes from a TV show. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. The caveat being, we're gonna try to keep them all because I'd originally said Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
But they're too new and they're still going on, so we're not going to do that. Yeah. So get ready for some Boy Meets World Thanksgiving. That's all I'm going to say.
And with that being said, what may not be nostalgia for you may be nostalgia for some.
And don't forget to check out some great Skinner matches.